Very good afternoon. We at IIHMR University, we are having two very distinguished guests with us. On my left, we have Dr. Parag Diwan. He's a global academic leader and a great institution builder. He's the one who created UPES, and which became a big success story, and even now it is a global success story. And so it is, his name does not need any introduction, but it is really a great pleasure and honor for us to welcome you.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And on the right, we have Dr. Andrew with me. He is from the University of Alabama in the US, and he is from the graduate school and very, very research focused. So, a great welcome to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you so much. So we are here to discuss about academic leadership and institution building. And what do you see are the major challenges? Firstly, I would like to take view from Dr. Parag Diwan. What do you think are the major challenges and possibilities in India in terms of academic leadership and institution building? And what are the future possibilities and what we need to do? And then I will come to you for your views.
Okay.
So over to you, Dr. Diwan.
Thank you. And this question of yours has given me a throwback to almost 25 years ago when I conducted a very large conclave of the then directors of business school. And our theme was 4 F's for the leadership. First of all, the first F includes the funding of an institution. So to build an institution, you need a set of modicum of funding. Second comes the facilities, the physical facilities. And third is the faculty. We must build a great faculty base. Physical facilities can be created, but the faculty base is the biggest challenge. After having done all this, the biggest and the last F is the freedom, the academic freedom, the freedom to innovate, the freedom to do things differently. So those are the 4 F's, I call it a 4F model, and it's been stuck with me for many, many years. But that's how I look into the crux of academic leadership. So academic leader, if he can handle all the 4 F's properly or in an interesting mix, then of course the institution can be built further. Those are my initial thoughts. Dr. Gupta?
I think it is really a great model you have shared. And but it has been seen that there are certain institutions in India who are having a funding, who are having facility, but they are having a great problem attracting good faculty. So you in your stint in the UPS and now you are consulting many organizations. So how institution can attract and retain good faculty? What are your views on that?
Interesting question, and the biggest challenge for the first attraction and then retention of great faculty is the 4th F, which I talked about, freedom. A lot of time, especially in the private sector education in India, there is huge number of constraints put on faculty. They must do this, they must come in time, they must produce results, they should be properly dressed, their research quotient should be so high, their H factor should become so much, they must teach 14 hours also, do 10 hours of research. So faculty does not become an automatic or a robot, so to speak. So you need to give them academic freedom. Everybody is made differently. Some like to do great research, some like to perform in classrooms and have absolutely great classroom teachers. So from that, heuristics or thumb rules have come out that if I'm an academic leader and I'm looking into faculty base, then I should look into a 4-quadrant model of my faculty. And 60% of my faculty must lie in great classroom teachers, because teaching learning is the core of any academic institution. To build research credentials, another 15 to 20% of your faculty who are great researchers will produce world-class research. And then you need about 5 to 10% whom I call networkers, who will go out, network, get into industry, get grants, work, get industry projects. And then there is a very precious commodity, which is the 5%, who are called stars, who operate on all these 3 dimensions equally well. And stars are something which you must cultivate, must protect under any cost. And that's how faculty attraction, strategic hiring every year you should do, or every 6 months you should do your quadrant analysis and see whether you're lacking in good quality teachers, you're lacking on researchers, and then do strategic hiring and fill those gaps. So if we get that model, another part is of course, money, salaries is one thing, but most important is to create a what I call nurturing and caring environment, where every faculty feels wanted, that yes, they are usefully contributing, or they are doing this. There has to be a huge amount of faculty engagement, public recognition, funding support for starting the research funds, supports for international collaboration, support to go abroad and present their things. Many of our institutions, both in public and private sector, lack this dimension. And that's why the retentivity of faculty and getting a great, if you get these mixed right, I'm sure that any institution can attract great faculty and then retain them.
Great, I think you've given excellent insights on this topic, and I believe that the faculty members who were hired and nurtured by you must be really one of the very lucky lots. And as you were sharing with me that they're still in touch with you. So I believe that having that kind of mindset, and also having a sort of a entrepreneurship mindset and ownership mindset is also very, very important. I have seen that faculty members who are very, very inspired to do what they do, and there are some people who may say, oh, why I'm here, I'm not getting paid this much and that much. So that mix will always be there.
Absolutely.
But as you have said that there is a quadrant analysis and finding out who the stars, and then making sure that how you are able to retain those stars, and also making sure that somebody who is really good in research, they should be more focused towards research.
Correct.
Rather than teacher who is really a good teacher, you force that person to do research.
And he becomes bored at that.
Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I see exactly the same pattern.
Oh, so I'd like to
in
now
the
hear
US.
your views on this.
Yeah, it's very much the same. I mean, when you're building a portfolio of faculty in a department or a university, you do need those experts. You need those people who can teach really well. You need those people who can research very well, and you have them focus on those tasks. Because a lot of the University of Alabama, a lot of our research faculty, they're not natural teachers. So let's have them focus on the research. But there are a lot of folks who really want to focus on the teaching. That is their passion. Their passion is standing in front of the classroom.
Absolutely.
And so, rather than fighting against that, let's go with it. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I do want to, in terms of, building a successful university, another thing I think that's very, very important is interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. I think all of the big advances that are going to come up in the next few years by facilitating the meeting of faculty from different disciplines. And so, having a electrical engineer talk with a mechanical engineer, or having a health professional talk with a computer scientist, getting those people in the same room and making them realize that they're working on some of the same projects. That's how we're going to make the big advances. It's not by having people in one discipline stay in that same room. We want to get them out of that room. We want to break down those silos.
I think it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
In fact, when this our university IIHMR was created, at that time people were not having individual cabins, so it was like a group seating, and sometimes So what was the culture that somebody from a rural management background sitting with a hospital and healthcare background, so you were learning from each other at that time, rather than the very similar people sitting there. So that kind of cross-disciplinary approach was not taking place.
Yeah.
So I think what you were saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And many universities, they are set up by department. This department is over in this part of the building, this department's over in another part of the building. At the University of Alabama, many of our colleges are taking the approach of grouping faculty by their research interest rather than by their department. So I think, I'm a huge advocate for that.
Interesting part.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dr. Parag, would you like to share something that about the motivation of the faculty, because there are some faculty who are naturally very inspired to do things, and there are certain faculty who are like I remember that the student whom I taught maybe 20 years back, even at that time, I was very motivated, and I thought it is a great opportunity for me to teach somebody and to make a difference in their life. And those students still remember, and they are in touch all the time. But there are faculty who may not bring that passion and that ownership. So what do you think?
I think that's
what can be our advice to them?
The point that you've raised is a very interesting point, and again, that's a issue that's been emerging over the last 10 years. The underlying problem there is that not the best of the brains want to become teachers, and now teaching has become the last option. If there are not enough other options, they say, okay, let me go and try my hand. And if these are the kind of people who get hired as faculty, obvious motivation to teach in the class is not so great, and it's because there's no other alternative choice for them. But having said that, once you land up with these people, some of them are in living, so you try many methods of what is called faculty development approach in terms of making them undergo pedagogical learning, how to hold a class, how to work in pedagogical instances to teach in a class. In case they lack domain knowledge, conduct faculty development programs. There's also some places that have done the motivational training or motivation that now that you are here, you've got this career and make the best of it. So why don't you look into developing yourself? And then some of such faculty, I still remember 2-3 instances, they really changed themselves and become one of the best class 2 teaching faculty members from what they were. But it takes time, it takes a lot of work, and not everybody will reform, and then somebody will fall by the wayside. But that's the way.
Okay, I think it's very nice. I've also seen such examples in my life, and I've seen it as all the great seeds are already there within them. It all depends that when they are getting blossomed and how they are nurturing in that way. And I have also seen many times I have seen that the moment faculty knows that they are the gurus. In our Indian system, we talk a real teacher as a guru. Guru means somebody who dispels the darkness. That somebody, the very presence of that person, the darkness goes away and there is a light. But for that matter, we need to see that whether we are not having any darkness within. So therefore, I do a program known as From Teacher to Guru program, where people know that who they are, and if they are self-aware, they can shake the whole world. They know the real power of being a guru. So I believe that program on self-awareness and knowing who they are and what they can do. So therefore, not thinking like a poor self-image. I'm a teacher, what can I do? My students are getting higher salary than mine. That kind of, sometimes they have this regret in their life. But once they know I'm the one who's creating them and nurturing them with love and care, so that makes a big impact. So as Parag was sharing that once you're here, you better be here and do what best you can do with that. So in the US also, do you find any such thing that how to motivate faculty and how to?
Well, I think that at the University of Alabama, one of our challenges is that we have a lot of our faculty come in with their focus being research.
Okay.
They haven't really thought about the teaching side yet. And so having those training sessions, professional development, when we can teach them how to work best in the classroom. So this has been tremendously rewarding for me. I'm someone who very much came from a research background. When I started at my university, I hadn't really thought about teaching. I actually approached it as my own research topic. I'm like, okay, I can do research. Let's find out about teaching. And this is something I am tremendously passionate about now. I love being in front of the classroom. I love instilling that knowledge in the students. And I actually now teach a national course for new faculty on how to teach. So
Great.
how best to engage the classroom, how to balance life. I mean, we've talked about this already today. How to have that work-life balance, because a faculty member who doesn't have that is not going to be a happy faculty member. So I think this is very, very important.
Sure.
Okay, I just have one point to make here on the work-life balance. I believe that work-life balance also is required when you're not really enjoying what you're doing. So then you need those moments to say that, oh, it is my life, I should reclaim my life. But I've seen that when you're totally there, then you lose focus of time and you're just there. So the work becomes your life, work becomes your enjoyment in that way. And in India, there was a Gurukula system where the student used to go in a secluded place and they were nurtured by the Guru. And with that, Guru used to tell, oh, you are like good archer, so you should, the Arjuna. And somebody who is good in mace, so, oh, Bhima, you are the person. So looking at the passion, the ability and the faith and the kind of seed which is there within, then that kind of knowledge was prescribed by the Guru. But in this long period where so much of commercialization of education is there, a lot of mass is here, so this kind of customization sometimes becomes difficult. But I do believe that Guru and the teacher has to play a very, very important role.
Yeah.
And so Parag, would you like to share anything else on this topic?
Yeah, interestingly, because the analogy which you said is now reappearing in the modern campus society. I mean, it has been always the case in most of the American universities, but now some Indian universities are also encouraging students to enter the university without any declared major. And first 2 years, you experiment, look into maths, look into sociology, philosophy, and see where you're just akin to whether I'm a great archer, then I become Arjun. If I'm a great mace handler or have a physical strength, I become a wrestler. So that kind of thing. So it gives you 2 years of general studies, which are the foundation credits for any good undergraduate degree to explore.
And I believe you're nurturing one such university.
Yeah, I'm trying to create this model, at least in one of the universities here. But that's again back to, so it's like a Gurukul only, that you first find out what your passion is about, what your strength is about, and whether once you make that passion and strength into a profession, then whether you'll be happy there or not. So that's some interesting models which have the underpinnings in the old Gurukul system of our country. So that's something.
Okay, very nice. I think if that becomes a reality, I think it is going to make a very, very big impact, and that will nurture our talent. Like we talk about the demographic dividend. That is the best way, because then you're nurturing as per the natural inclination and not what I say, that you're not choosing your career option because of any abhav or prabhav, but living in the swabhav. So from swabhav to swadharma. So that is, that you're not living as if you're not good enough or you're following somebody else's model.
Yeah.
And you know what you're good at, what your heart calls for, and then you go on in that direction. So I believe the whole education scene in India is requiring a lot of transformative change.
Correct.
And it has to be at all the levels, be it level of infrastructure change or faculty level development. But the biggest thing is about the mindset change, which people like Parag ji and Dr. Andrew has been doing all over the world. So I think it was a very nice interaction. And before we close, Andrew, would you like to have any last words?
Well, I do want to add to the comments about the US system where you come in and you sort of experiment. I think that works very well in the US. And so I'm very glad to hear that that's been thought about in India, because I see a lot of students who come in who their parents have told them they should be an engineer, but that's not their passion. And I come from the British system of education where it was very strict, very regimented, and I was lucky in that I knew what I wanted to do, and it really was my passion. But I have many friends who it wasn't their passion, and they didn't do that well because they didn't enjoy what they were doing.
Correct.
So that's wonderful to hear that that's been thought of in India.
So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Parag.
Thank you, Professor
Thank you.
Gupta.
Thank you.
Wonderful